This is the Crowd Crux Crowdfunding Podcast with Sal Brigman, where we cover everything you need to know to launch a successful crowdfunding campaign. We speak with proven entrepreneurs who've raised money from the crowd and want to teach you how to do the same. Stay tuned because we're about to reveal how to launch your dream project. With your host, Sal Brigman.
Before we get started with this podcast episode, I want to take a second to introduce you to my friends at Fulfillrite. If you need help shipping out your Kickstarter or Indiegogo perks or rewards, Fulfillrite is the absolute best company for you. I've been working with them for a while and I can vouch for their services. They make it dead simple and take all of the headache out of shipping out all of those boxes, all of those orders to your backers and your customers. If you want to check them out, go to fulfillrite.com at FULFILLRITE.com. What's up, Crowdfunding Nation? Thank you for joining me on this episode of the podcast. And if it's your first time tuning in, my name is Salvador Brigman. And on this podcast, we talk about crowdfunding, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and raising money for your business or your project. This is an Ask Sal episode where listeners will submit their questions and I answer them. If you'd like to submit your own question, you can go to crowdcrux.com/AskSal. That is crowdcrux.com/AskSal. And you can leave your voice recording there. It'll be played back on the podcast. Let's get to today's question.
Good morning, Sal. My name is Phil Garton. I'm responding to your email to Jacques Nichols about our new startup venture that involves a book titled Who the Hell Signed Me Up for This Class? The Original Dirt Brothers, which is an apparel company marketing hats, t-shirts, as well as other merchandise. There will also be a nonprofit Lend a Hand Foundation. My question is, this project has so many legs, we don't really know where to start on securing crowdfunding. Can you help with some advice? Thanks.
Hey, Phil, thank you for leaving the question. There are a lot of components to this question, so I'm going to try to unpack this and provide an answer that's good for you and also good for the rest of the listeners on this podcast. The first thing I'll say, if you're looking to go the crowdfunding route via Kickstarter or Indiegogo, the first thing that you should know is this is not a platform to resell products. This is not an e-commerce store. You are raising money for a new product that has either been created in terms of the prototype or you're using the money to create or further develop the product in some way. You shouldn't look at this as though if you already have a bustling business, that this isn't a place or a website that you could continue to sell your products from, because that is a mistake that many entrepreneurs will make. And that's a common question I get. Hey, Sal, can I resell products or can I sell something if I myself didn't make it? The answer to that is no. The second part I would keep in mind is you're going to be launching a campaign to raise money, but also you're going to be incentivizing people to pledge money and become a backer of your campaign by releasing rewards. So perks or rewards are what people get in exchange for giving money to your campaign. Usually, if it's a product-centric campaign, they're pre-orders of the product. So in exchange for backing your campaign, I gain access to the very first production run of this product, or I gain access to other things related to the product or an experience. Maybe I get invited to the launch party. If it's a more of a creative project, maybe I get a character in the storyline named after me, or I get to contribute something, a line of dialogue to the story. You have to think of it this way, that you're not just raising money in terms of fundraising, you're also giving something back to the community. And of course, you'll also have to budget in the costs of delivering those perks and those rewards to the community. So that's the second thing that I would keep in mind. The third is you're going to have to push this campaign. While there is a marketplace on Kickstarter, you need a great video, amazing campaign images and text. You need something that's going to make people say, I want this. I want to own it, or I like the creator. I like his story. I want to help him out. So it's not so passive, if you will. I had to interrupt this podcast episode because I want to introduce you to my friends at The Gadget Flow. Their product discovery platform reaches 22 million people per month. They've helped more than 5,000 crowdfunding campaigns thus far, and they have a social media following of more than 700,000 followers. If you want to gain access to their marketplace and list your own product, you can go to thegadgetflow.com/submit and list your project today. If you have the resources to commit to that, and you also have the resources to build an email list, to build out social channels, and to promote this campaign with paid advertising possibly, or PR, then I would think more about doing this type of project. In terms of the thing that you're going to be raising money for, if you do have multiple projects in your organization that you could raise money for, I would go through a few different decision criteria. The first is, what is most important to the future of your organization? Which of these projects, if you do successfully raise money, is going to change the game for your company, is going to make you realize things that are possible that you previously didn't think were possible, and it's going to give you access to a whole new community of people, which you can learn from. You can learn from them about the needs they have, about the things they're interested in, all these different things. What is the project that most fits that description? The second is, what is the project that you yourself and other people at the organization are most passionate about? Which project do you care most about? Which one are genuinely, when you wake up, the idea of it gets you excited? And the reason there is, the more passion that you have about a project, the more passionately you're going to come across when you're describing it. It really goes into the sales and marketing mindset here that if you are so passionate about this product, you believe in it, you think it's going to be great for other people, that core confidence is going to come across to your backers. Whereas if you think, I don't know if this is going to be a good product, or I don't know if this is good for the backers, or I don't know, it's okay, I think it'd be cool to test it, that lack of confidence is going to come across to your backers and turn off a large number of people. In addition, this is we're building a business here, or we're building an organization that we want to work at. So doing things that you're passionate about, to me, just makes perfect sense. Why would you do something that you don't like? So the first one, what is best for the vision or the future direction of your company? The second is, what is your most passionate? The third, I would say, is looking realistically, and it's hard to do this. I myself struggle with this. Looking realistically at the resources and time, money, human resources, etc., that you have available to you. What can you pull off with those resources? For example, for me, well, let's just say, we'll take another company actually as an example. If that person wants to raise $5 million to make this really cool robot that's going to transform human society, they know that will definitely push the vision of their company forward. They know that they themselves are passionate about this, but they don't have any kind of resources to pull this off. They don't have any kind of marketing budget. They don't have the time necessary to go out there to rally up the troops, to get people on their email list, to build a tribe before launching, etc. There's no point in doing it. So you have to look here a little bit realistically at what can you actually commit to this project. I'm speaking to the crowdfunders in the audience who have already launched a Kickstarter campaign or have actually even successfully run a campaign. And the reason is, I think you will understand this pain point most. And that is, when you finally do raise money on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, the hardest part is not collecting the cash. The hardest part is shipping out all of those perks and rewards to your backers. It is a nightmare, my friends. It's a lot of spreadsheets, it's a lot of headache, and it's a lot of stress. That's why I recommend BackerKit. If you have not heard of BackerKit, they help you collect surveys, they help you collect data, and the entire fulfillment process is just so much easier and so many less spreadsheets when you use their software. You can check them out at backerkit.com and use CrowdCrux for a special discount. There are many crowdfunding campaigners out there, and I don't mean to shine a spotlight on them, but it's just kind of human nature. We think that this is like a land grab where you're trying to get as much money as possible, where you're trying to launch this campaign because this whole new viral thing is happening and you want to be a part of it. Rather than letting the emotions get you all excited, try to cool down your thinking for a bit and actually assess, what can I do with the resources that I have available to me and my company? I think that decision criteria is going to help you going forward. It's also going to help you have a little bit more clarity in terms of what you should focus on for your organization. And lastly, if you do want to learn more about Kickstarter, you can enroll in my course, crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter. That's also really applicable for Indiegogo, the videos that I go through and the information there. I think that's going to help you a lot. And of course, listen to other interviews I've conducted on this podcast. These are people who have successfully run Kickstarter and Indiegogo campaigns, in some cases, multi-million-dollar campaigns. So you will learn a lot by just listening to what they have to say about crowdfunding. If you enjoyed my answer to your question and you enjoyed this episode, can you please take a second to rate and subscribe to this podcast on iTunes? It would mean a lot to me. That way, other people who come and discover this podcast know it's worth their time. I do put out longer episodes, so it's actually worth that time investment. And second, it's a great way to give me some feedback on how I'm doing with the podcast. If you want to do that, you can go to crowdcrux.com/rate on iTunes. If you're on your smartphone device, you can just open up the podcast app, hit the search button, type in crowdfunding, and my podcast will pop up. You can then click on that and you leave a review from that screen. Thank you for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.